My twin brother Max got diagnosed with autism at 15, and suddenly everything I'd ever achieved became insensitive to his struggles. Before the diagnosis, Max was just the quiet kid who could recite every Amtrak train schedule from memory and wore the same blue noise-canceling headphones daily. I was the chaotic twin bringing home debate trophies, hosting weekend sleepovers with 6 girls cramming into our basement, and practicing violin scales until Mrs. Henderson next door would bang on our shared wall. We were polar opposites, but our parents treated us as equals. Then came that life-changing appointment with Dr. Martinez at Children's Hospital. Mom walked out clutching pamphlets about autism spectrum support like they were religious artifacts. Dad immediately dove into Amazon, ordering sensory-friendly lights, weighted blankets, and fidget cubes. By dinner that evening, they'd constructed an entirely new family hierarchy with Max's needs at the absolute center. The household transformation was swift and brutal. No more celebrating my achievements because it might trigger Max's comparison anxiety and send him into what Mom called spiral mode. Friends were permanently banned from our house because social gatherings apparently overwhelmed his nervous system and disrupted his carefully calibrated routines. My violin practice got banished to the freezing garage because string instruments were too stimulating for his auditory processing issues. I watched my carefully built life disintegrate piece by piece. My debate team captain position stripped away because tournaments required weekend travel, and Max needed consistent Saturday morning routines or he'd have meltdowns. The prestigious Interlochen summer art program I'd auditioned for twice canceled last minute because someone had to stay home and maintain his rigid schedule while Mom worked double shifts. The most confusing part was Max's genuine bewilderment at all this protection. He'd look lost when Mom would frantically shush my excitement about making honor roll, physically covering my mouth mid-sentence. Sometimes I'd catch him watching me accept awards at school ceremonies through the auditorium window, and his expression looked like pride, which somehow made my growing resentment feel 10 times more toxic. I became a master of invisible achievement. College prep happened entirely in secret at the public library downtown. I'd lie about study groups to attend my own award ceremonies alone, accepting recognition for academic excellence while my family thought I was doing group projects. I learned to celebrate victories in bathroom stalls and dim every single light in my life so Max wouldn't have to squint. The breaking point came junior year when I won the state speech championship. I couldn't even bring the trophy home because it might make Max feel inadequate about his communication challenges. I left it in my guidance counselor's office where it collected dust next to other kids' forgotten achievements. By senior year, I was completely suffocating under the weight of perpetual consideration. I secretly applied to colleges across the entire country, using Mrs. Peterson's address for all correspondence after bribing her with free lawn mowing all summer. When my Northwestern acceptance arrived with a full academic scholarship, I stared at the letter for 14 straight days before finding the courage to bring it home. I strategically chose dinner on a random Tuesday, when everyone was at their most relaxed. Max was performing his nightly ritual of methodically arranging his rotini pasta by size and color gradients, a habit that used to drive me absolutely insane, but now felt oddly comforting in its mathematical predictability. I got into Northwestern, I announced quietly, sliding the crisp acceptance letter across our scratched wooden table. Mom's fork clattered against her ceramic plate like a gunshot. Her face drained of all color as she read the official letterhead. But Max needs his entire support system here, Emma. You're his emotional anchor, his stability cornerstone, the one constant that keeps him grounded. I glanced sideways at Max, who continued his pasta geometry project without even lifting his eyes, completely unbothered by this dramatic conversation about his supposed psychological dependence on my physical presence. Did anyone actually ask Max what he needs? I said, my voice carrying more edge than intended. For the first time all evening, Max slowly raised his head and made direct eye contact. I need Emma to stop walking on eggshells around me, like I'm constructed from spun glass. It's honestly the weirdest thing ever. Mom stared at him like he'd suddenly started speaking fluent Mandarin. Max deliberately set down his fork and looked directly at both parents for the first time in months. Also, I received my MIT early admission letter exactly 3 weeks ago. I've been hiding it in my train model collection because you never let us celebrate anything positive anymore. The silence that followed was absolutely deafening. You both applied to colleges without telling us? Dad whispered, his voice cracking slightly. Max shrugged with characteristic matter-of-factness. Emma taught me the entire P.O. Box rental process. We've been coordinating this since sophomore year. Turns out we'd spent 3 entire years secretly protecting each other from parents who'd confused accommodating autism with completely erasing individual achievement, personal identity, and basic human celebration.